What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're checking out the new self-titled album by the band Superheaven. This band has been around since 2008, and this is only their third studio album, yet they still have over 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify. It's simply because their music is just that good. Their style of grunge and shoegaze, or what I like to call them grunge gaze, is super addictive. Their first album, Jar, from 2013, has kind of like a Nirvana vibe to it. It also has like this dreamlike kind of atmosphere that puts you in a trance from start to finish. They followed this up in 2015 when they released their sophomore record, Ours is Chrome. I know that Jar is looked at as being the fan favorite, but for me, Ours is Chrome is my personal favorite out of the two albums. It has the same kind of grunge gaze sound, but they incorporated almost like a pop punk quality to it, specifically in their choruses. Just makes it slightly more catchy, and it's without changing their original sound. It's quite brilliant, actually. And unfortunately, this would be their last release, as they would go on a hiatus for about 6 years. They reunited and they played a few festivals here and there in 2022, but the real treat came in 2024 when they released 2 new singles, and they also announced a new album, something that I personally never really expected to ever happen again. The first single was Long Gone, and since it was 10 years since they'd released anything, I gotta say I was excited, but also a little nervous, because most bands that came back post-COVID have been less than stellar. There's only a few of them that are still really good, like Attack Attack was, that is what it is. But then at the same time, you have Job for a Cowboy, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, I was kind of on the fence about this one. But listening to the single, Long Gone, it still has their signature sound with a little bit more emphasis on the gazy part of their grunge, gaze, shoegaze, grunge core stuff. The bass line is super fat and the guitar is very fuzzy, something I enjoy so much. Most notably though, it seems like they have a Deftones quality to their mix. The music and just overall writing reminds me a lot of something that would be found on White Pony, as do the vocals, of course. Needless to say, I think it sounds absolutely beautiful. And then they released the song Numb to What Is Real. And I feel like this has even more of a Deftones-esque quality to it, but also it still has a little bit more of that old school Superheaven sound like that's found on Jar that I feel like a lot of older fans will enjoy. The melody is great. The vocal effect to me is absolutely perfect. The chorus is really, really good. And the lyrics are straightforward. While the verses have good imagery and cool metaphors, much like their past music, this song puts you in a trance. Then they released the song Cruel Times, which reminds me a little bit more of their Ours is Chrome era, thanks to the catchy chorus. I'm not 100% sure what this song is about, but to me it sounds like it's about the return to music and the struggles that they had with that and writing new stuff and the dedication to it and not really being sure if they'd be able to do it again. It's very vulnerable at times. It has really cool metaphors that I enjoyed a lot. And of course, it could be about something completely different. I could be missing it altogether. I didn't really care for this song all that much the first time I listened to it, but the more I listened to it, the more it grew on me. I feel like this song, though, it has one kind of glaring problem. 2 of the band members in Superheaven are also part of a band called Webbed Wing, and I feel like a lot of that has trickled into this song. This song sounds like it could be placed on any Webbed Wing album, and it would fit on there perfectly. Where it does feel a little out of place more or less in a Superheaven album, but at the same time, it still sounds pretty good. We also got Stare at the Void, which was the last single they released. The guitar effect is very, very Deftonesy. I'm probably going to say that more often than you guys want to hear, but that's just a very glaring influence in this album. I know, like I said, I keep saying that, but I just enjoy hearing influences and stuff, and it sticks out to me a lot, especially on this new album. The chorus is really big, as to me it's kind of about being an outsider and struggling with depression from it, not really being able to fit in. And while the bridge shows acceptance of this discomfort and this struggle and just being okay with being an outsider and being okay within your own skin. But if you start at the opening track, Humans for Toys, we get a completely different story about what this album is going to be. And it's a different side than what the singles were showing. This one is slightly heavier. And instead of it focusing on inner issues and struggles, it's about the use of people and civilians in war, while people who are in charge of war and people who are at the very top of basically every nation and stuff like that are kind of using them more or less in pawns and chess, and they don't really care that much, and it's just completely expendable in that sense. It's really sad. The chorus does not hold back. Verse 2 addresses some very, very serious issues, and I just love the overall sound of this song, how it feels very lighthearted, yet at the same time it has a very depressive atmosphere. And then we have the song Sound of Goodbyes. This one has the same kind of vocal performance in it, with a focus more on the drums. The guitar doesn't really make itself known until you get to the chorus, which has a really solid melody. Again, this one could be about the band coming back to the music scene and just the feelings of doubt, as if, you know, they could ever even do it again. And I don't know, make what you will of it. They use a lot of good metaphors, but this is kind of what I'm getting from it. And it has very, very poetic lyrics that I enjoy. Even if you don't try and figure it out, this song, it can hit you pretty deep. Then we have the song Hotheads, which is a really nice change of pace, has a little bit more focus on a punk kind of sound. The drums really steal the show here, and much like a proper punk song, it's only about a minute and a half. My only complaint about this song is it's over way too soon, as it's one of the best moments on this album. And then we have the song Conflicted Moon, which is another one of my favorite songs. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it shows off their ability to write really colorful and beautiful instrumental shoegaze kind of stuff. There's a small amount of lyrics that are really drawn out to kind of fill up a little bit more space on this song, but the main thing to me that stuck out the most was the clean guitar tone and just their ability to write really good sounding shoegaze music, while at the same time, again, incorporating a little bit of grunge in there. And it just sounds like these guys enjoy making music together. When I listen to this and I hear the instrumental sections, you don't get the sense of a band that's just kind of going through the motions, or a band that's super skilled at what they're doing. So this is kind of like an intellectual thing for them to sit down and figure it. Like, you really get the vibe that they enjoy the atmosphere of the music that they're creating, and it shows. I feel it a lot as I'm listening to this song. Next Time reminds me, again, a little bit of Nirvana. It has that kind of carefree atmosphere, especially in the vocal performance. The imagery is fantastic, and musically it's a little bit more on the calming side, which is kind of cool considering that you're getting the sense that this album's kind of winding down. And again, even though it's super chill, not very eventful, I guess you could say, it is one of the better songs on this album. And then we have the closing track, The Curtain, which continues this super chill kind of vibe. It's got a slow tempo, gentle drums that just vaguely fill the empty spaces between the drums and the verse. And I know I keep saying this, but I just love hearing the different influences in here. It reminds me so much of the song Come Down by the band Bush. Even like the chorus has that similar vocal melody. Of course, it's not exactly the same, but the structure of the songs and the vocal performance and even the way the song kind of picks up in certain areas reminds me a lot of the song Come Down. Either way, this is an absolutely amazing closing track. You get a lot of closure from it. And like I said, it feels like the album's winding down. And this is like they committed to that. And they didn't surprise you with a super upbeat song or anything like that. So yeah, it definitely feels like a good closing track. To me, I feel like this album does everything right within the grunge gaze kind of world or genre. This is a solid comeback album. I'm super happy that it doesn't suck. I really like the Deftones-esque sounds all throughout and other little influences you can hear here and there. I get that some people might get kind of bored with this style of grunge music, but I think it's super sick. Some of the songs do kind of sound the same, admittedly, just because of the atmosphere that they all create, even if there's a different type of riff or more emphasis on a different instrument, or the lyrics are different or songwriting, whatever. Just the atmosphere that carries over kind of makes it feel like you're listening to the same song, but at the same time, it kind of connects all the themes and the whole album together, which I do like. There's a lot of space in this album for you to breathe, really take it in. It's a very easy listen with a lot of deep themes, and yeah, I feel like they're still killing it 10 years later. So I got to give Superheaven by Superheaven a 7.3 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Superheaven's self-titled album. Let me know what you would rate it, what your favorite song is. Also, if you enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a like. It helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm, and it'll also keep my videos popping up in the recommended section on your YouTube channel, which does a lot for me. I know a lot of people subscribe and ring the bell icon, and yet for some reason they tell me that my videos still don't really pop up and they don't get notified. So honestly, the easiest way to go about that is giving a video a like. It goes so far. It helps me out so much with YouTube's algorithm. And of course, you know, you can always, like I said, subscribe and ring the bell icon. That helps out a lot to support me as well. And I just want to thank you guys so much. I appreciate you more than you could ever imagine. Thank you for listening to me sit here and talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.